Remember the story of Dumpling and his golden goose? Try to tell that story again in 3 to 5 sentences. Take your time and think about your answers. Pause the video if you need to. I'll wait. If your answer was something like this, you would be correct. Tell me in the comments if you added anything that was not included here. While your answers would be correct, they could be better. If you keep your answers like this, other people can understand you, but it would sound like a list, very A2 level. So how can we make this answer sound more like a connected story and less like a list of separate things? The secret to improving to B1 level and sounding natural isn't bigger vocabulary words. It's learning how to glue your sentences together using sequencing words like first, next, then, after, and finally. These words appear often in real conversations whenever we tell a story, give directions, or explain our day. Today, we're going to master using them using the classic story of the golden goose. To keep the grammar simple, we're going to divide our sequencing words into 3 easy groups: the beginning, the middle, and the end. Let's look at how a real story moves through these stages using our groups. The beginning. Whenever you start a story or even list tasks in real life, you want to tell the listener that you are at step 1. In a traditional story, we often start with once upon a time to set the scene. But when the real action starts at the inn, look at how the story introduces the trouble. First, the eldest daughter came quietly. As soon as she touched the goose's wing, her hand got stuck to it. When we use the word first, it tells the listener, pay attention. This is the very first important thing to happen in the story. Step 2, the middle. After your story starts, you need to move the action forward. To do this, use words like next and then. In fact, you can change between next and then to keep from saying the same word over and over again. Let's look at how the brothers go into the forest one by one. Here are a few lines from the story. Next, the second son went into the forest. Then, Dumpling said, "Father, let me go." Notice how the story uses shortly afterwards when the second sister gets stuck. This is just a more natural, descriptive way of saying after a short time. Step 3, the end. When you arrive at the very last action or the big result of your story, you need to let the listener know you are finishing your story. Do not use then or next here. You want a closing word like finally or at last. Compare how the third sister gets caught in the trap. First, the eldest daughter came quietly. Shortly afterwards, the second sister came to get a feather. Finally, the third daughter arrived. And when Dumpling overcomes all the king's crazy tests, we get our happy ending. At last, the wedding was celebrated. Here's an extra tip. If something we are not expecting happens out of nowhere to change the direction of your story, use the word suddenly. For example, when the older brothers go into the forest, the story says, "Soon after, he began to cut down a tree. Suddenly, his axe slipped and hurt his arm." Or when Dumpling shares his food with the little gray man, the story says, "As they sat down, the cake suddenly turned into a sweet cake, and the grape juice became delicious wine." More sequencing words. Many other things happen in a story, but for now, knowing sequencing words for the beginning, middle, and end is a big step towards B1 level. In an upcoming lesson, we will look more closely at other sequencing words for other parts of the story, so watch out for that. And now, let's practice. Let's start with our first challenge. I'm going to give you 3 separate actions from the story. Right now, they sound like a boring list. Your job is to connect them using first, next, and then to make them flow like a real story. Pause the video and think about your answers. And here are the last 2 questions. Again, pause the video and think about your answers. And here are the answers. Pause the video and check your work. Remember, then and next can both be switched. And here are the rest of your answers. Again, pause the video and check your answers. Challenge number 2. Here, we need to choose the best connector to either start a story or finish it at the very end. Pause the video and think about your answers. And here is one more question for challenge 2. And here are your answers for part 2. Pause the video and check your answers. Excellent job. And now for part 3. Let's try something different. So for this exercise, choose between then and suddenly. Again, pause the video and think about your answers. And here are your answers for your final challenge. Pause the video and check your answers. By now, you're already hearing the sequencing words more naturally. That means your English is getting closer to B1, one story at a time. Now, let's bring this straight into real life. Head down to the comments and tell me 3 things you did yesterday using the 3 steps. First, next, and finally. For example, first, I drank a cup of coffee. Next, I went for a walk. Finally, I finished my English homework. Thanks for watching. Want to learn the key words from the story? Watch the vocabulary lesson, or continue with your next story.